Korean commentators talking a little bit about Psionic Storm there. This is a great map for it, especially with those bridges. Those are just funnels for all of the units. Great to throw down storms there and just do a ton of damage. And to a certain extent, I'm a little bit surprised to be seeing more Archons than Storms, though, you know, Archons fantastic against Zealots, less fantastic against Dragoons, and just with the... Oh! Speaking of Storm, looks like Horang has barely managed to slip in a Storm drop to kill a number of the probes over at Movie's Natural, but his shuttle is in pretty critical condition and just got shot down there. I don't know how many probes he got, but probably quite a lot. It might have been worth it. Zealots for Movie are going to be able to take out a cannon, but that's a cannon and some probes, but that's about it. That attack force for Movie is cleaned up after having done some pretty minimal damage. So a lot of harassment's been going back and forth, but I think it's this is looking like it's going to be one of those games where it's just going to come down to one large army battle that's going to settle everything, rather than a lot of little skirmishes. And both of these players are going to, I think, going to max out pretty quickly, if they aren't already. There's pretty substantial armies for both players. And at this stage in the game, also, you have to bear in mind, in terms of their supply, or psi count for Protoss, as Movie is taking his 5th, they're going to have probably about 70, 80, maybe even more probes. I don't know if they've stopped making probes all game. Now there's a lot of storms across the bridges, and this is looking good for Horang, but he's risking getting flanked by the forces on the other bridge. Not the best storm for Horang there, though he does pop 2 Dragoons off with it. Then a second one is a lot better. Movie's army is getting routed here, and he is being thrown into retreat. He also can't cross those bridges very easily, at least not without running through storms. Movie's army has been cleaned up here, and that, I think, is going to be the decisive large army battle. Now, Horang is going to have free reign to run up the right side of the map while Movie is rebuilding his army and just start taking out expansions there. There is a reinforcement. There's a force of reinforcements coming in for Movie, but Horang's got reinforcements of his own coming, and he's going to lose at least this one nexus, probably the one behind it. But at the same time, Movie has opted to just counterattack instead with a speedlot raid, and Horang's expansions are lightly defended too. So this is an interesting choice. Movie's going to have to be at least as effective as Horang was, but it looks like Horang has got his reinforcements rallied there quickly enough to save that, to save both of his expansions. Meanwhile, Movie has lost both nexuses, so now it's 5 bases to 3. The main bases have got to be getting close to mined out if they aren't already, and the naturals are going to follow pretty soon. So, unless Movie can reestablish those bases really quickly, he's going to get crushed economically very soon. Economically and militarily, because the two go hand in hand in a situation like this. Movie's added some more gates. I saw a 9 in his base, but I don't think it's... I think, for one thing, that Horang is going to have more, and yeah, we haven't really seen the production of Horang lately. There's a good storm for Movie, but he's going to need a little bit more than that. It's a storm on some Zealots, catching some of his own, but I think a lot of Protoss players just find that to be kind of acceptable losses. And Horang is pouring into that that 5th base of Movies over at the second natural. I'm not entirely sure why Protoss tend to take their bases in this order. I think it might be that it's more defensible, and well, all of the bases have gas, so I don't know what it is. But now Horang has knocked Movie down to 2 bases. As I was saying, the man is going to mine out pretty soon if it hasn't already, and he's actually just having a surprisingly easy time crossing these bridges. It's like, yes, there's a lot of storm there, and that's going to delay him for a few seconds and damage some of his zealots, but there's just no army for Movie to speak of, and these Archons are going to focus down that Nexus while the zealots go to work on the cannon. Movie looking pretty crushed. He's an aggressive player, but he never really managed to be aggressive out of the gates here. GG. Horang wins, and I feel a mixture of joy because I like horang2 as a player. He's pretty good, and he's taken the game. But I'm also a fan of Movie, and I'm disappointed that he lost. So mixed emotions, but a pretty I don't know if that was even all that exciting of a game. It was pretty standard to play, and it seemed like Horang was just a step ahead for most of the time. Game 3 is going to be next, and it's going to be a pretty chaotic Zerg versus Zerg. And it's oh right, pretty chaotic Zerg versus Zerg. It's going to be Yarnak versus Effort on Heartbreak Ridge. So I will see you there. Have a good day. Image out.